We just got a question in from a viewer who asks quite plainly, how does this actually help consumers?
Right. So what we've seen since 2015 is a stutter step in investment in broadband networks. A number of studies are out there, a number of independent studies and market analyses that CapEx has been curtailed a little bit in this space because, as you had in a previous segment, the sword of Damocles of rate regulation has been swinging over ISPs. So Title II was created for the Ma Bell phone monopoly in 1934, and it has about 1,000 different requirements. And so the FCC became sort of the agency of Mother May I. Can we innovate? Can we zero rate in a way that's pro-consumer, for instance? And the FCC was this bottleneck all of a sudden for innovation and experimentation in the marketplace. Keep in mind, by the way, that consumers, over 90% of consumers have a choice of 4 mobile broadband providers. Contrary to what Tom was saying, in mobile broadband speeds are much faster now than DSL or cable modem speeds were even just 10 years ago. And they'll be 100 times faster after we wire up or have wirelessly connected with 5G, the Internet of Things. So it's going to be a wonderful time.
How do we hold ISPs accountable, though, when this is mostly honor system based?
It's not honor system based. There are many laws already in effect here. So what prevented ISPs prior to 2015, prior to Tom's order, from behaving in an anti-competitive way that harms consumers? It was Section 5 of the Federal Trade Commission Act. It was the Clayton Act. It was state attorneys general and the plaintiffs' bar, quite frankly. But it was also economic incentives. It was the market. You have a competitive marketplace for broadband, and it's primarily mobile broadband. We see cord cutting and cord shaving. And we see, you know, if I watch my kids, they're watching their video on over the top on devices like this through mobile broadband connections. It might be licensed, it might be unlicensed. So you had market pressure, and you had other laws already on the books prior to 2015 that protected consumers, it protected entrepreneurs, it protected investors, and it gave us this great internet ecosphere that we enjoy today. So it's a myth that somehow consumers are unprotected after what the FCC is doing. Quite the opposite.
Now, we've also been talking about the DOJ suing AT&T over its attempt to acquire Time Warner. Earlier with Tom Wheeler, we were talking about how much of all of these issues are politically motivated. I'm curious for your thoughts on that, given that you worked with both a Democratic and a Republican administration as FCC chair.
I did. I was just a commissioner, not chair, so don't inflate the resume. But yes, I worked very closely on a lot of deals. So you saw, for instance, SiriusXM or AT&T's attempt to buy T-Mobile, all while I was there. Many, many big deals. And we worked closely with the Department of Justice and sometimes the Federal Trade Commission on these deals. So what we're seeing is a reinvention of antitrust law, or an attempt to do so with this complaint. You know, there's a reason that the government hasn't challenged a vertical deal where a distributor is buying a supplier in nearly half a century. And that's because they tend to fail or there's no competitive harm. So right now the jurisprudence, the case law, is really stacked against the government. The government has the burden of proof here. And we're going to see an interesting case. I mean, get the popcorn out, because there are 2 companies in America that know the most about antitrust law. That's Exxon, the old Standard Oil, and Ma Bell, AT&T. And AT&T was willing to go to court in 2011 in a horizontal merger where they were buying a competitor, T-Mobile. But it was the FCC that actually killed that deal. But they were willing to go to court there, and they're more than willing to go to court and win. I think the government has a huge burden to overcome and would really be creating a new paradigm and a new precedent here as they try to argue in court. So get the popcorn out. It's going to be an interesting couple months.